You guys, today marks the 30th anniversary of Top Gun. Like this actual day. Well, that is assuming you're watching this on the day we upload it, which you totally should be. Please subscribe, okay? Thanks, you're the best. The point is, I feel the need for 7 things you didn't know about Top Gun. Probably.
You remember one thing. You screw up just this much, you'll be flying a cargo plane full of rubber dog shit out of Hong Kong.
Since Top Gun was made during the early 80s, they couldn't rely on digital effects to get the shots they needed, which meant getting real shots of fighter jets at 28,000 feet, not on a soundstage. And that meant getting the cooperation of the United States government. The production team worked in cooperation with the Pentagon and the Navy to get all of the shots of real flying and real jets for the film. And Washington totally hooked them up because they were really excited about the project. They only charged the production for fuel, which was actually still a good chunk of the budget in the end. Buying jet fuel isn't exactly like going to the local Chevron, you know. The Navy also allowed them to fire one and only one missile for the film. They were able to double that missile count by just flopping the shot and reusing it, aka movie magic, aka a bonus thing you didn't know.
Jester's dead. Woohoo! Jester's dead. Yeehaw!
You probably didn't know that they really put the actors in those jets for a lot of the shots in the film. I mean, Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer didn't actually pilot them, obviously, but they were really up there. So for the exterior plane shots, we're typically seeing a real military pilot in the front seat with one of the actors in the back. They wanted to film the actors when they were really inside the cockpits in flight for close-ups, and then just fake the back seats for the front as needed. Problem was, nearly all of the footage of the actors in the cockpits on real flights was pretty much unusable, because they were all barfing. A lot.
It's better than I expected. It was fantastic.
Hey, you try pulling 5 or 6 Gs when you're not used to it and see how well you do. By the way, all of the actors who went on flight runs did go through a training program so they'd know what to do if something went wrong while they were in the air. Which, geez, I would hope so. That's like the least they could do. While Top Gun did work hard for authenticity when it came to the aerial footage, there are a lot of parts in it that are totally inaccurate. Namely, all of the showering and locker room hijinks.
That's right. Nice. Man, I am dangerous.
The real Viper, Peter Pettigrew, was the technical advisor, and he did his best to impress upon the production team that all of the guys running around in towels simply would never have happened at the real Top Gun. In reality, most of the guys would just go home in their flight suits or change in their cars. I wonder what the beach volleyball matches were like at the real Top Gun. Like, was it less baby oil or way more?
This gives me a hard on. Don't tease me.
Anyway, the writers and producers felt like the locker room was a place where characters could say things they wouldn't be able to say anywhere else. And they looked at Top Gun more as a sports film than a military one anyway. As for all of the half-naked guys in it, well, that was just something for the ladies. Since we mentioned the writers, here's an interesting thing about them. Top Gun was written by Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr., a writing team that, in 25 years of working together, only did so in the same room once. Cash lived in Michigan while Epps was in Los Angeles, so they'd collaborate over the phone, through the mail, and eventually by computer. Epps took their meetings in LA and Cash would join by speakerphone, or he'd just get filled in after the fact. And that was all because Cash didn't fly, which makes it pretty ironic that he co-wrote the most famous flying movie of all time. Oh, except for snakes on a plane. Let's talk about this scene. Kelly McGillis is wearing that hat, and you may have noticed that Tom Cruise's hair is longer than it is in the rest of the movie. That's because this was shot about 6 months after Top Gun had wrapped. They'd both moved on to shoot other movies, so her hair was shorter and a different color, and Cruise had his hairdo from The Color of Money. They had to add this scene in after the fact because they wanted to make the relationship between Maverick and Charlie seem more concrete and long-lasting.
I'm glad we got that straight.
But that wasn't the only thing the Top Gun team had to come up with in post. That was a segue. Once the first cut of Top Gun was completed, Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson freaked out. There was a huge problem, and it was that the movie pretty much had no story whatsoever. Post-production became a huge endeavor to try to reverse engineer a plot, cobbling it together with the footage that they had. And one trick that they used was recording wild lines of the actors talking to use in the cockpit scenes. Since the actors were all wearing masks, they could plug in dialogue, any dialogue, to help them build the story. So when you see their masks move on screen, the actors are talking, but they're not saying what we're hearing. In reality, they're most likely talking nonsense. You know, asking their assistants to schedule their kombucha enemas or whatever. Actors.
You can be my wingman anytime.
Bullshit. You can be mine.
If you've ever wondered why there wasn't a Top Gun 2, it wasn't for a lack of trying. Top Gun was such a hit, it played in theaters for a whole year, and Danger Zone and Take My Breath Away were on the radio non-stop. But when the studio approached the team and said they were going to make Top Gun 2, the filmmakers let them know that they'd need to go back to the government, get permission to shoot the aerial footage, arrange the pilots, all that crap. Well, the studio wasn't banking on that, and had actually planned to just use whatever aerial footage they had left over from the first film. Problem was, there wasn't a single frame of usable footage that didn't get used in Top Gun. There were no leftovers. In disbelief, the studio checked the reels only to discover that there really wasn't anything they could use. And that's definitely a good thing, because we were spared a crappy Top Gun sequel that would have just been a bunch of cutting room floor scraps.
Damn son of a bitch.
That wraps up our 30th anniversary Top Gun celebration episode, but don't forget to check out Cinefix.com and subscribe for more true-ish things about movies, and sometimes kombucha enemas, right here on Things You Didn't Know.